Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Kimberly at Journal Breeze. I'm so happy that you stopped by today. I am excited to bring you this design team project for Chapter 1 papers. I put these two journals on my Instagram feed and got a lot of feedback, which made me think about sharing on YouTube as my design team project. And the thing that I think is the most exciting are these incredible papers. There's 4 kits involved, and one of them, they're all called antique patterns, and there's the documents, which are smaller, which are regular size sheets with pieces of ephemera on them, so you could use them as a tall journal. And then the paper is laid out in such a way that both sides will get their own piece of ephemera, for the most part. Or you can cut them out. I actually made them smaller and cut them out to use on a smaller project I made. If you go to my feed, you can go back, and it wasn't too long ago that I made these. So that's the documents. It's actually the ephemera. And then there's the collage, which is like this. Now this is a different piece of paper that I laid on top, and I'm going to show you why that matters. But the documents have, well, this is all one. The collage. This is all one. So you've got what looks like 3, but it's actually 1. And let's see if that's, no, this is what's this one called? Let's see. We have collage, documents, maybe prints, and then there's one more that I will eventually remember. And then everything is offered in different shades of pink or in different shades of blue and teal. It's a phenomenal selection. Truly phenomenal selection. So I have, I'm going to show you these real quick, and then I've chosen to work with the pink today. And I've also made up a brown that I'll be working on and posting soon. Browns and golds and blues. There's just so much that these can be used for. And I just happened to find, as I was going through my closet, these booklets I bought a while ago. They're 8 by 8. This is an empty one. And I took the papers out. So this is from Teaching Tools. Bendin. I got these a long time ago, you guys. A really long time ago. Maybe you can find them on Amazon or something like that. But they're out of Ohio. So I have 2 packs of white and a pack of colored covers. So I've been having a great old time, and that's why it's this shape, which, leads to some interesting challenges because it's 8 by 8. So our paper here in the U.S. is 8.5 by 11, but you've actually got 16 across. So it really lent itself to using these pages that are collaged, pre-collaged for you. This one I just used the same paper all the way through because I loved it so much. But I turned it over on the back and, made a pocket. I just thought the front was so gorgeous. I know this probably looks more like it ought to be the front because it's got the pockets, and these tops are so pretty. But I was really set on the simplicity of just having this. And I put on a paper journal, faux journal label to look like metal, and then I took gilding wax and I put it across the top so that it looks like it's basically worn off, and the word was journal on there. And I tied it with a twine, or it's a twine, but it's a fine twine, and this one I did with a string twine. And then I put a wax seal that I made in the middle of a stamped piece that I'd cut out separately and glued together. These are actually on the collaged piece. And then I put a key. This was my closure, and this key was so big I thought it was perfect for this big top. And then the back is the collaged. So let me show you this one first because it's simpler. And this is another collage sheet inside. This is separate glued on, and it continues over to here. And this is actually the other side of this sheet. It was over here, but I wanted to have a little more going on up front, so I glued it sideways or upside down. Whoops, something popped up. Hold on. Oh, come on, go away. All right. I love this. Just love this paper so much. I've learned a lot as I've gone along, and so I'll be making the third one with you guys today. It's partially made just to speed things up, and I'm going to show you how to age the papers. There's some aging there. I coffee dyed these pages in overnight, well, 4 hours. 4 hours. And you can see how it's browned. And then I also went over the edges, doing extra, with the Ranger's Distressed Oxide Gathered Twigs. If I want something really light, I use Ranger's Archival ink. But I'll tell you, if you pick one of the Distress Oxides to do distressing to the edges, it just glides on. It is so much easier to put on than the Distress ink. And I like the colors better in the Archival because I didn't really like dark. And so Gathered Twigs is, it's not, it's dark, but it's not, super dark. I could see times for super dark, but basically I just kind of stick with this. So it's, you can kind of get different shades, but it just is so easy to apply, and it doesn't take much, and it just looks really good to me. And I'm going to show you how I put it on, and the other ways that I age these papers. But these, I think, are from it sitting in the coffee for 4 hours. This I had stamped a long time ago with the black Archival ink and soaked it, and nothing shifted. It looks just as good, but it looks a little bit lighter because I did, make the back darker. But I think that's pretty amazing that it could soak for 4 hours, right? And the ink even shows through to the other side. Let's see if I can, yeah. It's hard to see, I think, with the sun, but it's there. And then I decided just to tie this in the middle for fun. This is the first digital I ever downloaded. It was way before I knew what junk journals were, years. And I just thought it was the most incredible looking thing. I put 4 on a page. I don't think it came that way. And then it just sat in my drawer. So when I found it, I thought, I'm going to use it. So anyway, so this is simple. I kept this really simple. It was my first one. You can see the difference here and here, though. This paper is thick enough, it has enough body that what was laying up, I think, got more of the coffee stain than what was laying down, because the bottom is whiter and the top is more tan looking. But I think that adds to the aging. I hope you can make it out in that sun. Let's see if I can. You can really see the difference here if the sun isn't too bright. This is whiter and this is not. Now the 4 hours of soaking, I just soak them all at one time. Big glass, casserole dish, and the coffee, and it's all saved from my morning coffee leftovers. So this is a very medium coffee. I don't drink heavy coffee. It's not, dark roast. I don't add anything to it. I don't put any instant in it. It's literally just saving from what I haven't already drunk. So that's why it could last 4 hours. Obviously, it could have been darker, but I sort of like the light. I tend to go toward the light, so I guess I'm liking it more than the dark these days. And all right, so that's for that. Like I say, I kept it really simple, but anything could happen in there to make it more exciting. And then this one was my second choice, so I've already showed you the front and how these went there. I didn't want to cover up the middle, that's why I put that there. I thought it looked kind of cute, I liked it. These are papers from the kit as well. There's no tags in the kit, you have to cut it yourself. I think there was an envelope, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. But I just backed them. And these are cut from the same piece of paper. So it goes like that, something like that. Okay. So now this one has more of the aging that I got excited about, and then brought it up on Instagram, and my viewers also got excited about it. So I'm going to show you how I did this. And I learned a lot about how to handle the middle. So I'm going to show you that. But you can begin to see how these got overlaid somehow. I don't know if I laid them on top of each other when they were in the dish, or if this is what happened when I put them in the oven, because in the morning, after they soak for 4 hours, I take them out and they sit overnight to dry. They do not dry, they're on plastic and they don't dry. So in the morning, I put them in an oven at 195 and about 10 minutes, and then they're dry. And they're wrinkly, which I like some wrinkle. So I just put them under kind of a heavy stack for about half an hour. And then what's left is what I get. And I'm happy with that. Because these papers look so old, I want it to look really old. I love how this is the centerpiece, and I added that on there. I glued that on there, and this, of course, is that paper. So room for another tag without the fancy top. So here's more of the aging. More here. So this one's a little different. I took the book and I went to the center and I folded. I actually took the papers out. Well, no, I think I took them out after I did this. And I folded it like this. Whoops, that's off a little bit. So obviously you could use a nice sturdy, in fact I have a sample, 49 in Market. This weight, it's thicker than, say, Tim Holtz. That's equal to this. They're about the same. This may be a little bit thinner, actually, but you could easily make an 8x8 square. It's fun to work with this shape, so give it a shot. So back to the center. So, and then I folded the next two so that they overlapped somewhat, making sure to keep it square. Whoops. Okay. And then I did one more, leaving just the last one to be the same size. So really it was just a, just a thought, like, oh, what if I folded? And then you get this nice cascading effect. There we go. So I did that on both sides, and I did obviously take it out of the staple. And here's what the result looked like. And you can see that this was coffee dyed. It took the coffee dye differently. Coffee dip, coffee soak. I also went over everything with my Distress Oxide. So I decided to cut up some French fabric I had that was striped, and I just cut out the different stripes and put it in the center of all the pieces. But I love how the die took to in here. So I recommend I'm hearing something downstairs. Oh well, kind of sounds like a bouncing ball, but no one's home, just the pets. I don't think they have a bouncing ball. I don't know. All right, so it's beautiful the way that it aged itself in the very middle, I think. And a lot of this then I added myself. But like this was the coffee dye. Pretty much this is the coffee dye. You can see how this one extends over, so that's the coffee dye. Yeah, I'm not, this is the first papers I made, so I'm not quite sure how these came out so much darker. You can see right, it ended there. I do know that they ripped. They were really waterlogged, and so that led to this next aging that I did, which is, do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ta-da! Tea bags. Tea bags. They're my new best friend. I'm going to set my alarm here. Hold on. Yeah, tea bags. Wow, they really made a difference. This is the paper, and this tea bag. They look like the same. This is a tea bag. That's a tea bag. This is a tea bag. That's a tea bag. Tea bag. Tea bag. I actually did the bottom. I put the fabric on top and I put the tea bag on the bottom. I didn't feel like I needed to reinforce in here. I actually glued this down, the littlest one I glued down, so I could put something in there. It seems that most of these I'm probably going to keep closed and maybe glue them down, maybe write and have hidden writing. More tea bag, more tea bag. So what I did was I looked through it to come up to find all of the areas that were actually torn. And when I looked at the back, I love how this looks with these fabrics up here. I think it really just looks so cool. I love how these turned out. So get your tea bags. You know, there's a lot of different colors you can get from tea bags. I wanted to point that out. And I used tea bags that look like this to do those that I just showed you, the one I just showed you. And then there's other ones that come out like this. So you're going to get some, you know, clearer edges, but they're still colored. They're still going to show up. And then some darker edges. And I'll put one on. This I actually put in the coffee dip because it was so light. So you can do that too. Here's another one. And another. Now you notice these are all a brown. Like that's going to make a nice one. And then I had some that had this darker color. I used it, and I think it would be fantastic for like a haunted book or a gothic book or a, what are they called? Grismore? Nevermore. You know, it's really got a goth feel, and it's really, really cool. It's a very, 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 very dark purpley black. This is like almost boring. And this has a little more color, but these would not be as interesting. Here's another black one. And then I've got in here, I think it was a turmeric and ginger tea, and so they came out yellow. So you gotta sort of think about, it's very gold looking. That may not be so bad for the golden brown one I'm making. Yeah, I don't know how aged that would look because it's yellow. Aging is usually brown, but it's still, it's a possibility. I wouldn't write it off. But what you really want to do is get the bags get the teas that will give you a brown bag. I pretty much only drink medicinal tea, so I don't really have any recommendations. I don't know what these are from, and the ones that did this, I don't know what this is from, and this is the best because it's got the greatest amount. So, yeah, I don't know. And so I just cut that string, open it up, you know how to do it. And there you go. So you're going to have a really great side on here and sort of a calmer side here with some brown on the edges. So we'll do that in a minute. So that's the ticket there. So let me show you what we're going to make, and then I'll do the aging. So this is the front. It's a beautiful mint green. So this is a darker mint, so it's kind of, it doesn't look as minty, but when it's by itself, it's a mint, and with pink. And then I glued on this piece so that Paris would show up right on the other side of the fold. And then the back is all this. So this was an easy one, but I did think these went together so pretty that I left it. I love this fabric. Love this. Oh, it could be a wallpaper. Okay, so my recommendation is that you, because again of the size, and we use A4, so it's 11 by 8.5. You can leave it at 8.5 if you put it the long way, but it will also work putting it this way. There just won't really be anything overlapping at all. So it depends on, what your paper looks like. Like this is another one that I really love. And this could be used either way. It could be used this way, and you would cut off a little bit, or it could be used this way. So the paper comes out like a ½ inch on either side of your cover if you're doing 8 by 8. So it's pretty ideal. And so on the first two I made, I did not overlap the front, and you can actually see that white core. So on this one, I'm overlapping. And of course, these are going to be turned in. So I used double-edged or double-sided tape. Let's do one because I haven't done, like I say, I did not do that before. So I want to see. I didn't have to score this. I scored that because I needed to make sure that it was right for when I glued it down. And I edged everything with Distress Oxide before I ever glued it, and I put some more in the middle here. And then I also oxided, Distress Oxide the edge here, and then butted these together. This actually went to a Napoleon paper font that I'm going to use inside that has a green feel to it. Hold on a moment. Okay, so I did not score these the first time I did it, or the second, so I'm assuming I didn't have to, and yeah, it's working fine. Okay, all of this is going to be covered by the inside. Let me just get these on really quick. Oh, is my head in the thing? Sorry, you guys. Sorry. So I hope everybody's doing well. I'm hearing more about people getting COVID, and I know you can take the different medicine to help it not be so bad. And the cases seem to be fairly light if you don't have pre-existing that causes problems, but still I feel bad. Did I remember to take the tape off? There seems to be an additional tape here. Yeah. There we go. Okay. All right. Now, the important thing, the thing that I really learned, is that by having this on the outside, I absolutely cannot have any sort of bulk in here. Like, you could end it short and put another piece on top, but it's still one piece of paper. This one I just folded over because I liked it. But on this inside, I cut a little V. So that these could be turned up separately. And I am going to try something new, and I'll show you that in a minute. Let me get the rest of these up. Oh, no, let's do this one, see how it worked. Okay. So summer's around the corner. Proms are coming up, and graduations, and all kinds of summer things are in the air. I hope you're going to have some wonderful weather and wonderful summer relaxation. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going to flatten this down. Now this isn't going to show. It's a cute edge, but it's not going to show. So I've cut everything for the inside to cover it up. Little tiny bit will show on each edge on the side, but I cut the middle to go right up to the edge. So let's do this one really quick. We've been having super cold weather. Oh my God. It's like so cold at night you can see your breath, I think. I don't know. It feels like a wind chill factor. Super gusty winds, super cold. But now, it's probably 80 out today, although windy. And I guess we're going to have good weather for a lot of this week. Yeah, clouds and fog and wind and cold. It's wild. Oops. I gotta get this out of there before I put this down. My after thing, probably. I have been so filled with ideas since this kit came out. And I've got a whole bunch of ideas. So, back in the day, these would have been examples on paper. And then people would use them to cover objects like books and lampshades and, not that they had lampshades back then, but they have since. Little date books, address books, little, bigger desk books, whatever. And then, of course, they would use the same ideas for wallpaper, and then, of course, the people that made cloth would come along and want to use them too. They would be considered dress prints, blouses, inner, not outer of a dress when they were dressed in layers. Simple things. It would be the simple one, not the fancy one. The papers that they have in here that are part of the collage and the ephemera, which is the documents. And then there's another one called index. I'm not sure why it's called index. When I receive it, they all come, sorted sort of more by numbers than anything. So I don't always see it the way you will see it on the on Etsy. There they have it divided up, and again, everything is either blues and teals or shades of pink. So that's why I wanted to show you these different ones so you can see kind of the selection. I'll show you the brown and gold one too. Okay, and then I'm going to tuck this up. I want to have a really sharp edge. There we go. You could cover picture frames with this. You could cover pencil boxes, or those of you who make the drawer and file items out of digital paper, like April Barrington. She does these huge, beautiful paper storage systems for paper and trinkets that we use. Just gorgeous. I mean, these papers are just really lend themselves for that. So then this little guy tucked over the top, and this little guy's going to tuck over the top too. Okay, so now for the inside, and the tape is so that it gets held down really, really well. But it also adds, you know, stability. And I just think it looks really nice to have it tucked over. I'm going to distress the edges. Look at the difference that fast. Bingo. I just think this is the best. I always do the corners greater because they tend to get more. And then the other thing you want to think about is where do they put their fingers? So the grease always forms where the fingers were. So they would open a book down here, and they would also often pick it up in the middle. I'm going to go on the inside because it will show a little bit. This one shouldn't show, but I don't want to take that risk. Okay. All right. Also going to do this. And they would hold a book like this, right? So you're going to get more fingerprints, more dirty prints there. The bottom edge is always going to be more yuck than the top. Oh, good, good, good. Okay. I'm going to put a little bit here. You can see the color, it undulates. There's more of a blue-green here, and it gets more of a yellow-green. So they're quite aged to begin with. They're just very, very authentic looking. All right. So now, what does she have planned for the inside? So fun planning what papers you're going to use for these. So fun. Okay. So the idea is don't go across. Somehow have the two sides pretty much meet here and have something on top. But I actually am doing something a little different today to try it out because I like to do something different each time anyway. So this, I put a piece under because I couldn't turn it over because I liked it kind of rough like that. So I'm going to form a pocket. This is going to be a tuck. And I'm going to bring it, let's see if I come down, maybe that will help. Yeah, that's better. I'm gonna glue it right up to the edge, well, a little bit in from the edge, like, you know, 1/8 of an inch. And then this side, I've got to distress these. Oh, these both have more showing than I thought it would be, but oh well. What I'm going to try today is gluing this crease right into here, right in there. Easier said than done. And then there's no paper that's close to it, it's just that. And then I'll make that flat. But the reason is because to get them to, I'm trying to figure out how best to get them to lay flat. And just gluing a piece of paper across did not do it. It did not lay flat. I have to, you know, kind of hold it down. So I'd like something to just open and lay flat. So I'm trying these things out. And then this is the edge that'll go over there. So it's going to look like this. and then this will go right over that. So nothing will show, but nothing will be in the middle area but this crease. And then I'll have another tuck here. And then my papers are going to go, well, it's okay. And there. Okay. Alright, so when you get to the back, you'll see this, which I think is yummy. Do you want this to be up here though? Okay. Yeah, I like that. And then this is going to be here. And that's beautiful too. Love. Okay. So then I had to pick, or had fun picking fabrics that I thought would be cool for the inside pieces. But before I can put anything on, I have to notice, where do I need to put on the tea bag? I love how this back looks. I love how it aged from the coffee. So I don't really want to put a tea bag the whole length, which I will do on the ones that were plainer. I'll put a tea bag the whole length, and maybe even on both sides. But this one, I'm just going to put it on this side and this side, where it's really fragile. So let's do that now. Okay, so I am not going to use my best for that. Oh, that's going to have fabric over it. Well, it doesn't have to, but that was kind of my plan. Okay, I'm going to use not my favorite of the few I have left, just in case. Okay, let's use this one. Let's see. Yeah, see, even when it's plain, once you get that on there, it looks aged. So I'm going to do that. I always take off these corners. You know, the other thing you want to do, you guys, is make sure you're getting a tea bag that looks this way. You know, when you buy them in the container, make sure that it's the tea bag. Sometimes, let me see if I can find the one. You'll see that this is the type where this is Yogi, I think, where it's wrapped over the top and it's got this center part here. But there's also tea bags that are tiny, and they're put together on the sides like a staple. Oh, now I have one in here to show you, but it's not right here. So it won't have an open area. It won't be like that. It'll be all one piece, and it'll be the flanged edges all the way around. So when you take it apart, you literally just get this tiny section. So you need to get these bigger ones that offer up more real estate, as they say. And then you get a good glue stick. And I think I am going to fill that with fabric. So let's say that is from here to here is where it's ripped. So you want to go over longer than it is, of course. So really this is going to be for the construction. So maybe what I'll do is I'll put it on this side, which I don't fill with fabric, and I'll use the more aged look. That's what I'll do. Yeah, that'll be great. Okay. Yeah, the first time that I put these in water, I hadn't really worked with paper like this before. I have no idea what the weight is, but it's a different kind of paper. I don't know how to describe it beyond the fact that it's just different. And so as a consequence, it was really fragile, and I did not take precaution. So know what you're working with. And then these tea bags actually look different. This has got a darker mark here, and it's a little bit lighter on this side, so I am going to use that side. And then I'm going to and it's just as easy as that. It's so easy. I feel like it's a cheat, but it looks really good. So it's a good cheat, right? Really good cheat. Okay, so there you go. So I would let them dry before, sewing it into any kind of a signature. But I am going to put fabric in there. And then I love how the tea dye showed up there. Now I'm going to use my distress ink, and these are in desperate need of aging. And again, I'm barely touching. It's just like a cloud to add this distress ink, or oxide. I usually do a little bit of striping, just a really light touch. And I rather go around more than once than try to get everything done in one swoop. Now look how much better that looks on the other side already. I mean, it's amazing. That was so fast. And I am going to do this inside just in case, because I don't think I'll glue this down necessarily. My hands need a good wash when I'm done doing this, though. It's pretty sloppy. I never find that this comes off later, but it is different than distress ink. So I guess there's possibilities, but I've never used a journal where it's, caused a problem or shows up in the wrong place. That's never happened in my experience. You can see the line right here. Do you see that very light line right there with this attached? So fold your papers before putting them into the water is my recommendation. And if you leave them there a long time, they find the creases. And your work is done for you. So original looking. Look at that. So what are you guys working on? What's your latest trend you're working on? What are you intrigued by? I'm intrigued by so much I can barely wait to get to it. I'm just so engrossed in so many creative things that I hadn't been engrossed in before. So it's fun. I really look forward to the weekends when I have more continual time. There we go. All right. And I am going to add to here, but that looks so lovely. It will be sewn in. I am not going to put distress ink over incredible coffee coloring. I'm just going to be grateful for it looking that good and let it be. Okay, so you can see the difference between this edge and this edge. So it doesn't take much. This ink does the work. I love how that's wrinkled over. Yeah, that just looks so good. And so that makes where it's white, it's like okay, because it looks so old, you don't think, oh, she didn't distress it there. It just looks really old. Okay, what shape is this one in? Oh, that looks great. And that's going to have fabric in it. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? This looks like it might be a little bit of a rip. I know I have a big rip in the other one. So let me get the other one, and then we'll do some fabric on here. Okay, I'm going to distress all of those pages, of course, but I have a big tear that I want to fix. Here we go. That's just one. There's a couple. So, what I do first is I glue it into the right place because I really don't want that tear to continue itself. And we have some of that left. Yes, I think this won't be, I don't know if this will show or not. Okay, I'm going to take some more of this off. And this looks good too. You know, I see like a little tear there. So I'm going to save this one for that. And I'm going to tear the bottom, which is right now super straight. So it can look sort of like a Band-Aid. A hinge Band-Aid. There we go. Okay. So that's going to go here. Holes in it, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. And then this is going to go like that. So that's an interesting looking one. And this might all be covered anyway in the end. You know what? That's probably going to be true. So let's turn this over. And let's put this here. Let's see. If I have this like this, that'll be the front. Oh, look, it's going to be at the top. Huh. Okay, so I'm going to put that. I'm going to put that there. Okay. Okay. And then that covers right up to that circle where the other side we have the hinge. I do think these papers are kind of fragile with this coffee. So, I do feel it's really important to cover any areas that look fragile with fabric or I'm going to turn that up. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to put another little piece of a throwaway part. Yeah. Just to give it double strength. I just want to make sure. Okay. Sorry about my nose. When I look down for such a long time without looking up, I start to get a runny nose. Okay, so it's going to be that way. There you go. Okay. Alright, that's good. Let's see if there's any more in this stack. Now, using the tea bags as decoration is A-okay in my book. I'm not sure, actually, if I'm going to put fabric in these. Oh, yeah, I am, because I already picked it out. But let's put, that's not all that greatly dyed. That's good. That's a good one. That's a good one. That one we've kind of done. So let's do one long one there. Let's see. This is my favorite tea bag. You can see there's some tea left. The way I drink tea is I put the bags in my coffee. I hardly ever have a cup of tea. If I'm going to have hot, I have coffee. And that's it. So sometimes I'll put the coffee in the teapot itself. So as the hottest water comes in after brewing, then it's already, set up. And other times I'll put it in my cup so that the whole pot isn't infiltrated with whatever the flavor is. Because, I don't, like I said, I don't really buy due to flavor. I buy for the medicinal aspects of it. And so, the flavor is not necessarily valuable. Now, I want to make this go up here. So what I'm going to do, all right, that's my alarm. Okay, got it. Time's up, it says. Okay. Let's see, what is our time? Oop, yep, almost an hour. Okay, well, I actually think I've probably showed you everything that I wanted to as far as this incredible kit from Chapter 1 Papers and how to make a cool book using 8x8 paper, and then how to coffee dye it with the pages folded and let it sit overnight, wet, and then put it in your oven at 195, and voila. Which side should we do this on? Oh, I like that a lot. Okay, let's do that. Thought I'd show you the fabrics I chose. I have a unique idea for the pages that are not folded. I'm going to try something different on that journal. Well, that's got a little bit of yellow in it anyway, doesn't it? It's interesting. I didn't really see any yellow when I was looking at the bag. Huh. It's interesting. Okay. Alright, let's see. Go like that. And then I'm going to rip this right here. I used glue stick to put the fabric in also, in case you go in that direction. Okay, I'm going to take this little tiny bit and stick it right there. So working with tea bags is like working with napkins. If you didn't have any tea bags, you could use napkins. Soak your napkin layer plain, the plain inner layer. Soak it in coffee. Oh, I don't know how you get it out. because it would just fall apart. Yeah, that would be tough. Maybe tissue paper. And then you could use that if you don't have tea bags. Okay, and there we are. So when it's folded, which it will be, that's what you're going to see. That's going to be the front page. Oh, look at, there's tears there. So I'm going to do some more tea bags here. See, and it tends to tear on both sides because I'm putting it in the water folded. So I'm going to do a tea bag on each side. This is actually not going to be this journal. It's going to be the other. But let me show you quickly what fabrics I came up with. And then we'll call it a day, and you guys can make your own. So I kind of, went with a pink. Now, mind you, these fabrics are only going to be around other paper. There's none of this is showing, but, there's a sense you get of green and pink and, summery. It's a summery feel. Certainly on this side you get that feeling. So I wanted to go with that kind of a thing, but I love this fabric and it's so French. So I'm definitely using this. And then this I thought was just made for it. So I'll rip a strip of those. And then this one's kind of interesting. Okay, it started out like this, which actually goes really well with that. It's not, it doesn't really jive with the rest of it so much. So I coffee dyed this first, and I left it in quite a while. And then I just swished this one in the coffee pan. It must have been in there less than 5, probably 3 minutes. And then I took it out. So the difference is this is a little yellower, browner, and this is a little pinker. So I'm going to go with that one, but I wanted to share with you that if you have a fabric that's new, that's bright, you can make it look older by just swishing it. But you don't have to swish it that long. These things, this just took it like crazy. You can also use the backs. This one, I like the front, so I'm going to use the front. But that's about the width that I picked to go. That's about as wide as it gets. I didn't want to go wider. That's not quite 3 inches. So, up to 3, and then you can do less. So it's going to be this, 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 and then I thought this. I just think it picks up the greens and the pinks. And I do like that pop of color. The font, the black. Yeah, I thought it went well. What do you think? Do you like them? I'm not sure where I'm going to place them yet. This will probably be the first, and I won't show as much because it is really dark. But oh, I love it so much. Thought about this one. But it's kind of like a hole, This is almost a hole, but it's saved by the gold and the white and the pink. This is just, your eye just goes, you could say it just dead stops. You could look at it that way. But I sort of see it as like you just go through it. But it wouldn't be bad, if that's what you had. And I love this greeny mint with this burgundy, too. Yeah, I don't know. This might be better, but I just love this one. That might be better, actually. I'll get a strip of each and put them in. And then I just wanted to show you this one. As much as I love it, it was just too bright, too soft, too pink. And this was a pretty contribution. It would have been pretty on the center one. But it doesn't feel early like the paper. It just feels so cabbage rose or cottage rose. There's both, right? Cabbage and cottage. It just feels very English, and this is, very French. So I'm going to not use that here, but who knows? Because I'm going to continue to play with this idea. I like it, this design and covering. So that's it, guys. If I didn't go over something clearly, or you want to give feedback or you have a question, please don't hesitate to put it in the comments. And also anything you want to say. You know, I love it when you comment. It makes it worthwhile to do the YouTube when you comment. So please don't hesitate. And if you liked this video, if you can just put it on pause before it moves over to the auto roll and hit the like button, I would really appreciate it. And if you want to subscribe, that would be great. I really have a lot of new subscribers, and I'm just so happy that you're here, and I really appreciate that, you know, that you felt moved to subscribe. So I hope that my videos, although they're not that frequent, will be fulfilling for you, and that you'll, you know, have a takeaway. I always try to watch videos where there's a takeaway. I'm sure you do too. So that's what we have going today. Where are those other beauties we were working on? This one. And this one. Yeah, look at all these gorgeous papers. And the other one, I don't think it's handy, and I'm watching the clock, so I'm just going to post it later, and you'll be able to see it when it's done. But it's going to be a fun one, too. So take care. Have a really good weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next time. My Instagram is also Journal Breeze, and so is my website, although there's not much there but a freebie. So some of my early videos before I went on YouTube are on there, and there's a gallery of some of my older makes. But pretty much Instagram is the place to see my work and to be with me more often. I post frequently. All right? Take care. Bye.